Well, very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our latest edition of our client information or landlord update. Thank you all so much for tuning in, whether it's live at the moment or if you're watching this on the pre-recorded later on. Thank you all so much. Just wanted to start off by saying a quick thank you to you, our clients. Over the last couple of days, had a few conversations with some landlords who have passed on how great these sessions have been and how useful they've been over the last sort of 6 months. So a massive thank you to everyone that's reached out and to you, our clients, for your continuous support ongoing. It's been great. So thank you so much. Today is a little bit different. Over the last it's probably been close to 6 months now. A lot of this has been Michael and I talking. So we thought today would be a good opportunity to get our whole team involved. So today you'll be hearing from each member of our amazing team, from all our property managers, our leasing team, our admin and accounts departments, and also our sales team. So as I said, it's been a lot of Michael and I talking over these, more so Michael than I, but this will be a great opportunity to hear from everyone else that we can inside the team. As always, our Q&A is open from the very beginning, so please send through your questions that you may have, or if you want to put our team under the pump a little bit and ask some difficult questions, we encourage you to send them through. We've got a couple that they should hopefully stump them a little bit, but we'd love to get those questions coming in from you as well. So at this point, as always, Michael, welcome. How are you going?
Thanks, Anthony. Going well. Thank you very much for the intro. And yeah, I'm a bit excited about today. Actually, it's going to be a bit of a change of pace for us and a slightly different presentation this time, and a little less about hearing from Anthony and I, and a little bit more about the team, which is going to be good. And I know everybody's pretty excited to kind of share their little bit as well, which would be good. So Anthony, we might jump straight into it because we've got quite a bit to get through today. Obviously the focus, particularly over the last few weeks, has really been around leasing within property management. The stage 4 restrictions have made it a little bit challenging for us to, I suppose, lease properties. Obviously, we haven't. One of the biggest tools and something that we've gotten used to over the last 6 months is, being able to show properties privately. Obviously, open for inspections haven't really been there for most of the year, but private inspections have. That's been taken away from us for the last 4 weeks, and hopefully within 2 weeks we should have them back, and obviously in full force. But I just wanted to talk to our leasing team, so Maha and Hank. Hank actually only just joined us recently as well. He's been with us since the 1st of July, so 2 months now actually already. Time's going quickly, but so hear a little bit from our leasing guys in terms of what we've been doing, particularly over the last 4 weeks to get through this. Still putting some deals together. I know we've leased quite a few. I might actually hand over to Maha and ask Maha how we've actually gone about leasing over the last 4 weeks, and how many we've actually leased. Yeah. Oh, Maha, you're just on you're on mute. Just have to unmute yourself.
So this week we've had a really good month in stage 4. So we've actually leased 16 properties. The way we went about it was to actually take videos of every single vacant property that we had online to give prospective tenants a chance to virtually inspect the property rather than just looking at photos, which definitely helped. So once they would view the videos, they would then apply through to apply or one form. I would then process the application, do all the necessary reference checks, hand that over to the property manager, who would then seek approval from the landlord. Once that was done, we were then able to advise the tenants that they have been approved. So then they would pay the 1 month's rent in advance to secure the property. Then on the lease commencement date, they were actually able to physically inspect the property, sign the tenancy agreement, and also pay the bond on that day.
Yeah, great. So the way we've been getting around that has obviously been with taking payment up front and allowing the tenants to withdraw right the way up until, I suppose, signing the lease, and using that lease sign-up time as their initial physical inspection of the property. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, great, fantastic. And 16, so that's that's fantastic. And look, internally, we actually set ourselves a target of achieving at least 3 to 4 properties leased a week, and we've completely overshot that, which has been fantastic. So I'm really proud of the guys for being able to do that. It's been a challenging and very different environment that we've been operating in, but yeah, it's great to see some real success there on the board. I'll hand over to Hank now. So as I mentioned, Hank's been with the team since the start of July. Hank, do you want to tell us a little bit about what the plan is for the 14th of September, provided we're able to do private inspections like we were previously? What's the plan, I suppose, in the lead up to the 14th of September? And then obviously, what are we planning on doing from the 14th of September onwards?
Yep, thanks, Michael. There's a few things that we already we have planned. We're going to advertise properties 1 week before lockdown ends and organize professional photos for any missing photos by 14th of September, and using our new system for our booking system to allow tenants to book time for private inspections that are convenient for them.
Yeah, great. And just on that, so that new system that we've got in place at the moment, we've been using that. We've used that actually prior to stage 4 lockdown as well. So how does that work in terms of allowing tenants to book times? Are we, you want to talk a little bit about our ideal week and how that works?
So basically, with the ideal week is we put in the system our availability throughout the week, and the tenant can just choose any time that that's convenient for them, and that's they will book a 5 minutes inspection time just for them. Currently we have about 116, I think, people that's actually waiting for the inspection times. That once we set our what they call ideal week, they will be able to book in for inspection.
Yeah, great. So that's a really good system. I've been really pleased with that new system that we've been using around that. So what it does allow us to do is send through notifications to anybody that's sitting there waiting for an inspection, and it allows clients, the tenants in particular, to be able to book a time that's convenient for them. Previously, the whole private inspection methodology was that you'd have to call, or the tenant would need to send through an inquiry, either by calling, texting, or sending an email. We'd then follow up that inquiry and then arrange a time that was going to be convenient for both them and for the leasing consultant or the property manager to take them through. This system speeds up that entire process. So basically, Maha and Hank and quite a few of the property management team from the 14th of September onwards will make themselves available to inspect all of the properties on the list. And then a tenant can sit there on the couch at 2 a.m. if they feel like it, and book an inspection time based on the availability in that person's calendar. And the idea is that, particularly for those first 2 to 4 weeks, we should be able to book any time between business hours for us to come and take people through on private inspections, and have that booking system available to them online 24/7. So there's no time delay. They get notification once the property that they've inquired on. So people that have inquired over the course of the last 4 weeks and haven't gone on to then transact or are waiting for an inspection time will all be notified of inspections once they become available. So yeah, quite excited to see how that works, because we've never really been in a pause situation like we have at the moment to then reopen inspections and see how that goes. So no, that'd be great. But thanks Maha and Hank for that. That was really good. It's good to obviously hear from both of you on how that's happening. I know that the two of you are chomping at the bit at the moment to get out there and start leasing some properties again. So no, that's great. On the property management side, so the PMs, I might start off with Isabella. Isabella, did you want to talk to us a little bit about? I know a lot of these conversations that we've had up until now have been around, rent reductions with tenants and the moratorium and evictions, and obviously that was extended now again until the 31st of December. But how have you seen, things through this last period of lockdown? Have things really, picked up in terms of requests coming from tenants for deferrals and reductions, or has it been fairly consistent with what we've seen leading up until now? How have you seen it play out?
Thank you, Michael. So we've been experiencing an increase on the rent discounts requests coming from tenants, not only coming from tenants that asked for help since the beginning and had to request extension of the discount, but also coming from tenants that up to the beginning of August were able to pay their rents with their savings, but got to a limit when the second lockdown started. So they had to ask for a rent reduction or to move out. But hopefully everything is starting to go back to normal on the 13th of September. And with tenants being able to recover financially, as a consequence, landlords will recover as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's good. And just I suppose a follow-up question to that as well. With assistance for landlords, I know the RAIV's been pretty making quite a lot of noise over the last few weeks about the government coming to assistance of landlords. It seems like a lot of these government assistance is still very much targeted towards tenants. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, we get a bit frustrated with the type of help that is coming for people in financial hardship during coronavirus situation. There is a lot available for tenants, but not as much for landlords. But at the moment, the most used help is the rent relief grant, which was upgraded to $3,000, up to $3,000, depending on how much is the rent value we are talking about. But well, with the government helping the tenants to pay their rent, they are automatically helping the landlords to receive their rent income. So I think it's everyone helping each other at this point. But we are instructing all our tenants to apply for all the available help that the government is providing, so we can improve the situation for landlords and tenants at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's good. No, thank you very much for that as well. I appreciate that. Like I said, it's a bit of a challenging time at the moment, and we are working through them case by case. But yeah, without assistance from government, sometimes it can be quite challenging, which is why the RAIV is really starting to push that. I know, the extent of some of the benefits they're giving to landlords, there's some of them are deferrals on land tax and things like that, which, it's not even necessarily a removal of land tax expense, it's just a deferral. And often it's not even the full amount. It could only, be a portion of it too. So, hopefully, as part of the next few announcements that come out over the course of the next week or so, we see some sort of benefit coming through, particularly now that moratorium has been extended till the end of the year, because obviously, it opens it up for another, almost 6 months again. So, I know we've had quite a few conversations with landlords about, about the challenges that they're facing, and it's, it can be really challenging at times. Hayley, change of pace a little bit. I want to ask you a question a little bit about more working remotely. So obviously, we're all on the call, and and being able to do this is fantastic, because we can obviously all see each other, and I suppose we've been conversing a lot as a team using platforms like this as well. But did you want to tell us a little bit about the benefits of working remotely? I can think of an example yesterday morning that you might want to talk about.
Well, I know when we started first working remotely, a lot of us were a little nervous about it, because a lot of the things that we needed access to was obviously in the office. And if we're transferring at home, we're just thinking like, do the filing cabinets come home with us to give us the access to what we need? But after doing it for 6 months, we've realized that when we look back, which is like, we could laugh at that, because a lot of the things that we need now is obviously online and we can access it. And a benefit that we found that working from home for property managers is that we can now actually bring our work with us to the appointments that we have. So I know a few of us do bring our laptops along with us to appointments, because there's nothing worse where you meet a contractor for a small repair and they'll tell you, yeah, it was not going to take for more than half an hour, but an hour passed by and they're still there, and they realize they need to go get more parts and ask if you can wait. But if we bring our laptops with us, it means we're in the property, sitting in the little corner, hotspotting from our iPhones and just doing what we need to do. And then once they're done with the repairs, then we're just killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So yeah, working from home remotely has been quite good, actually.
Yeah, No, that's great. That's great. No, we picked up on that yesterday. Hayley was sitting there wearing a face mask when she was on our Teams call, our morning Teams call, and I couldn't quite work out why. Not that I don't know why she needed to wear PPE while she was on a video call with us, but turned out she was out at a property on her laptop, which is quite good. But even Hayley, talking kind of extending on the working remotely thing too. Obviously, you're at home at the moment, as we all are. And there's probably a likelihood that this kind of working from home will extend. How does that, now that we've kind of been doing this for the last 6 months or so, how are you seeing that kind of play out? And is it really having an impact, or is it becoming more of the normal for you now?
It's definitely becoming more of the normal for us. I know that now we're not relying so heavily that we need to go to the office specifically to do something. So I know that we're accepting like this would be what it's going to be like till the rest of the year. So we know that everything we need is online. It's with a click of a finger, we can have access to it. So that we've accepted it and we've adjusted it.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Thank you very much for that, Hayley. Next, I'll pass over to Kayani. So Kayani, a question more so about start of lease and end of lease. So probably linking in back from where our leasing team were talking about, how we're leasing properties at the moment. But how have you been handling start of lease and end of lease at the moment? Obviously, that's considered a permitted activity under what we're currently doing. It's one of the few permitted activities that we can leave our homes for. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about how you're handling that at the moment?
Thank you, Michael. We've tried and made the process as simple and convenient for both renters and ourselves. Basic reason is because of the lockdown stage 4, we have to minimize our road trips and have to also minimize contacting and meeting people. So what we basically do is when we go out to do our outgoings, it basically is an inspection when people are vacating. So what we do is we set up a time with the tenant so that we can meet them at that specific time, collect the keys from them, go into the property, check the property thoroughly, do the outgoing inspection, and at the same time, we also make the video of the property so that we can upload it on the ad so people can actually virtually inspect the property, and if they feel like, and they can apply. As we can see that we've basically managed to lease out a fair few properties in the last 1 month. So this process is basically working for us. And at the same time, what we are doing at the moment is we also do the ingoing so that we don't have to drive back to the same property if someone has applied or approved for that particular property. As far as the handing over the keys and signups are concerned, what we do is like, just for an example, one of my tenants is moving in tomorrow morning. So I've already set up a time with them. I will go meet the tenants personally at the property, hand them over the keys, go through them about the building, just give them a quick info and introduction of the building and who they should be contacting and if there's any issue with the property. Plus, at the same time, we send them the condition reports via email, and we do advise them that they have 3 business days to do it online and return it to us. So that's how we are just managing it at the moment, and it's working perfectly fine for us.
No, that's great. That's great. And yeah, you mentioned that the electronic condition reports there that we're using at the moment. So there's really no, so all the leases are signed electronically now. Condition
Absolutely.
Reports are electronic. We don't need, signed copies being handed to tenants and then coming back. So obviously reduces that contact risk. But the way I kind of see it at the moment, we don't really need them to be coming into the office to come and sign paperwork or anything like that. It can all be done remotely at the property and essentially straight from your home to the property and then back again, and maybe going past the office and picking up a set of keys. But that's about it. Is that right?
And Michael, the main purpose was basically so that we can meet as few people as possible. So basically, instead of them coming all the way to our office, meeting maybe 3-4 different people on their way to our office, what we do is we just go see them at the property, hand them the keys, and everything is done there. And it's much safer and convenient for everybody. Like the tenants, they are really appreciating the fact that we make this effort, come all the way to their properties, hand them the keys, or pick up the keys if they are vacating. So it's working perfectly fine for us. Actually, everybody. It's working it's working fine for everybody. It's smooth. It's perfect. It's very convenient.
No, that's great. That's great. No, thank you very much for that, Carney. That's it's a good, really good summary. Next, I'd like to bring Maya on screen. So Maya, as many of our clients will know, is the well, she knows everything about everything when it comes to everything in the office, but certainly handles a lot of the recontracting discussions with landlords and tenants in terms of rental negotiations and things like that as well when a lease is due for renewal. Obviously, lease increases or rental increases have been on hold now for since the end of March really, and that's now been extended out to the 31st of December. So there aren't actually any rental increases. But I suppose the question to you, Maya, was more around how are we handling these lease renewals at the moment. Obviously, there's quite a lot of movement in the market. There's a lot of fairly high vacancy rates. So how are we handling these lease renewals at the moment?
Thank you, Michael. So yeah, we keep offering lease renewal to our tenants who have their fixed term lease about to end. Normally, we contact them when we're about to reach them for the routine inspection, the virtual routine inspections. Just want to see how they're going. And most of the time, the tenants were lucky with the job security, no issue with the income. They are the ones that can take the advantage of there's no rental increase for the meantime. They can just renew the lease because they love the apartment. But we do find many of our tenants ask for periodic lease. It's just because they prefer to continue their tenancy on month-to-month basis after the current fixed term lease end, because they're just unsure about their work situations, about their financial situations because of this pandemic. So they do require this kind of flexibility. But some actually take this opportunity to just wait and see if they can upgrade, looking for bigger apartments. Sometimes they just searching around the similar types of apartments that they looking for in the same building or across the street, and they actually can use that as well for as a point for them to just negotiate with the landlords as well if they can renew the lease for a lower rental for the next 12 months because they watch the rental market price as well, just like as we do.
Yeah. And to that point, we I know you and I worked on one last week where the tenant was requesting a bit of a reduction on the rent in order to sign another fixed term lease. So with that one in particular, I know the landlord was happy to accept a lower rental, particularly in that building, because I suppose the price of that property type in that building had actually come off quite a lot. So the landlord was looking at valuing having a tenant locked in and not moving out, and then having a potential vacancy period against potentially then moving out, having to pay for another leasing fee, potentially having the property vacant. So there is value in obviously recontracting at that point. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true, Michael. So it's not only for the landlords, because tenants also know that the minute they decide to move out, they also need to spend extra money for the removal lease. They need to hire professional cleaners as well. So as long as the rental price that they offer is according to the current market price, we do recommend our landlords to accept the offer because most of the time it's just works for both parties. It's just a win-win solutions.
Yeah, great, beautiful. All right, thank you very much, Maya, and thank you to the property management guys as well. So that covers off everybody. Like I said, it's always really good hearing from the property managers and the leasing team directly, because obviously they're involved in it day to day. Obviously, Anthony and I are involved in it just as much, but it's also obviously there's a lot of value in hearing from everybody else and hearing the real life stories of what actually goes on within the property management department. Anthony, at that point, I might hand over to you. I know you had a few questions of our administration team and sales team, so I'll pop you up on the screen and let you ask some questions.
Thanks, Michael. At this point, I'll also just say, as usual, our Q&A is open, so please send them through if you've got any questions of the property managers, or now coming up, we'll have a chat with Sandra and Yuli from our accounts department, trust accounts department, and also then Jonathan and May from sales. But I'll start off with Sandra first, and I'll just one question that we sort of get asked a fair bit, and we sort of hear it a lot, and the property managers do as well. You know, a tenant may receive, or their rent might be due on a Friday, and then the owner won't receive the funds until Tuesday of the following week. Do you want to just have explain the sort of the process of why that may be that the rent doesn't sort of hit their account first thing Monday morning? Oh, sorry, we'll just unmute you there. That doesn't want to do it. The technology is always a wonderful thing. We might just get you unmute there if you can. Yep, good to go.
Yep,
that's
okay,
great.
So yeah, there's two options for our tenants to pay their rent, either directly into our bank account, so normally it will come through the next day, or another option is by BPay, so it's more of a secure way of paying, and each individual tenant's got their own reference number. So once, if payments are made during the week, once they hit our account, we've got an internal trust account, so we don't use we don't outsource our trust accounts to another medium or another company, so it's all in-house. So we reconcile every day, make sure that the funds are there and they're reconciled. So yeah, as the rents get paid, we reconcile them into our account, and we then forward them onto the landlord that same day, so there's no delay. But if a tenant pays their rent either on a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday, depending which way they do pay, if they pay directly into our account, well, then it basically comes through the next day. If it's paid by BPay, there is a delay through the processing of the BPay system. So there might be an extra day delay. So if they pay, for instance, on a Friday using BPay, it not necessarily will come through to our account on a Monday. It might come through on the Tuesday. But again, once it does hit our account, we disperse the funds immediately to the landlords.
That sort of, I guess, leads on to the next question that I had was, I know a lot of companies will sort of pay weekly, and some will even only pay their landlords monthly. Our trust account, we pay landlords daily, so as soon as essentially the money hits our account, they'll get paid the same day or for the next day. That's
correct. So yeah, there's no need for us to hold the funds in our account. There's no reason for that. So we disperse the funds here immediately to the landlords, unless we do pay their outgoings on their behalf. And in that scenario, we may hold back some of the rent because we know that there's accounts been sitting there for payment, council rates, owners corporation or water rates. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, the money's always dispersed immediately. There's no need for us to keep it in our account.
Yep. And I guess the other thing too, which is great, is that we have an internal, all our accounting is done internally when it comes to trust accounting and those sorts of things. So it's not as if we relying on a third party or an external company to do that for us. I know that it can be tricky sometimes, just trying to find out information. Being able to have, Sandra and Yuli there for our property managers is great. So if you ever, if any of our landlords did have a question or concerns about any of their, their bills or any discrepancies on their statement, they're able to sort of give the office a call and we can address those straight away. So thank you, Sandra. Next up is Yuli. Now, Yuli, I believe we've had some changes to our online portal and the ability of our owners to view documents that they may not have been able to review previously. If you want to just let us know about those.
Yep, thanks, Anthony. So with the recent update, it's actually pretty exciting because now landlords can view more documents on the owner's portal, such as, insurance documents, any OC levies, owner's corp levies, any other bills such as water bills, council rates, or even managing authority. So now everything's right there. So just really efficient because it's right there whenever they need it.
Yep. And with some landlords that haven't logged into the portal before, and if they don't, obviously if they've forgotten their login details, they're able to just send through an email or contact the office and we can get that set up for them?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thanks so much for that, Yuli. So that's just a bit of, I guess, about our trust accounting and seeing the brains behind our trust account. It's super important that we've got really good people that are handling that. At the end of the day, it is your money that's coming through, and we're wanting to make sure that that's all been handled correctly and done properly. So on that note, we'll move over to our sales department, and first up we'll introduce Jonathan here. Jonathan, we've over the last 4 to 5 weeks. It's been a bit of a different time for us, not being able to get out on the road. I know we've had a few conversations about how, a bit frustrating it is being sort of locked up at home over the last 4 or 5 weeks. But how have you seen buyer inquiry and buyers' interest levels over the last 4 to 5 weeks?
Yeah, thanks, Anth. It's been unusual times, but outside of the first week we were kind of locked down, it's been crazy. I mean, you and I have definitely been really busy and not sitting at home twiddling our thumbs. We've had a lot of inquiry, a lot of people asking questions, requesting contracts. So yeah, it's been good.
Yep. And how are you? There are a few buyers that are sort of ready to go after this sort of lockdown that are going to be in positions that they're wanting to sort of purchase and do things.
Oh yeah, definitely. So unfortunately we couldn't sell to every inquiry that called up, but obviously we can't do inspections and we can't show people through properties at the moment outside of the videos we have uploaded on the website. So yeah, we've got a lot of people ready to go and ready to get out of the house and look at property. And we are too, so it's awesome.
Yeah. I guess that leads into the last question I have for you, which is around our strategy coming out of stage 4. What do we? So we put a bit of a plan in place to yesterday. You want to sort of run us through what we're looking at doing?
Yep. So we're going to be able to have a system in place where buyers will be able to book inspections through our new portal. I've lost the name of the portal we're using, but they'll be able to book inspections 7 days a week. So we'll be ready Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, whenever you want. Anthony and I will be ready to go and show you through properties, and we're looking forward to it, and I'm sure you guys will be too.
I guess that's what happens when you lock up salespeople for about 6 weeks. We jump straight into it and start working 7 days because we just want to get out and start showing property. So looking forward to that. It's only 10 days, but who's counting? Last off, I just wanted to introduce May. So May is our sales administrator and works closely with Jonathan and I. In May, over the last sort of couple of weeks or 4 or 5 weeks, you and I have been working on sort of some new initiatives and some new technology that we've introduced. I know Jonathan just sort of touched on it then, but did you want to sort of give us a bit more of a rundown on sort of what we're brought in into our office?
Yes, Anthony. So we've got 2 new programs now. So one is Inspector Real Estate, which our rental team has been using. And with the help of this program, we're going to schedule our inspections more efficiently, and we can service buyers better. So for example, once it's all set up, prospective buyers will get an email response immediately when they send through an inquiry from domain or realestate.com. The email response to buyers include property details such as outgoings, lease expire date, virtual tour link, 3D tour link, and so on. So our agents will follow up with the buyer from there. And more importantly, so buyers will be able to register themselves online for one of the available inspection times. So as Jonathan has mentioned, after stage 4 lockdown, our sales agents like Anthony and Jonathan will make themselves available 7 days a week for buyers inspections. For weekend properties, we're going to do, buyers can choose any day for a private inspection, and tenanted properties will arrange a time from Monday to Saturday, which suits the tenant as well as a buyer. So the other program is called the Real-Time Agent. It's an app-based service. With the app installed on our mobile devices, we are able to have sales documents signed electronically, anytime, anywhere. It will automatically send a copy of the document to the vendor, buyer, agents, even solicitors, and including our office, all at the click of a button. So it's very convenient. Without physically meeting each other or sitting in the office, we can still make sales happen. Yeah, Anthony, do you have anything to add on?
No, that was great. That was perfect. I couldn't have said it better myself. But no, exactly. So just about sort of, I guess, reducing that those stress points with the sales process. I was having a chat with a client yesterday about it, and that whole sort of, and he's a client that we manage a few properties for, and he said that he's had situations where he's talked himself out of buying a property. He might have had a look at a property on a Friday. There might be a long weekend. Come sort of Tuesday when he's about to sign the contract, that whole weekend he's talked himself out of it, and then we'll regret it 6 months later that he didn't actually buy it. So this here is just to really be able to capture that moment of when someone is interested in making an offer and being able to do that, either at the property or virtually online through email. So super excited about Real-Time Agent and being able to do contracts on that, and also saves about 400 pages of paper when we print out a copy of the Section 32 in the city. It's quite lengthy, and I'm sure you would have seen that when you purchased your investment properties in the past. And then also we've seen the success with Inspect Real Estate on the rental side of things, and we thought we'd introduce it into sales. So super excited for both those programs coming in, and yeah, as I keep saying, getting out of the house and getting on to showing some properties. Michael, I think that's it from me. I'll throw it to you now if you've got any sort of last things to add.
Yeah, no, I just more, I suppose, a couple of observations there. So obviously, technology is forming a big part of what we do. I think it always kind of has, but particularly at the moment, it's really pushing us in that direction. You know, not using paper to sign contracts for two reasons. One, obviously, because we don't have, you know, we don't necessarily have the commercial printers here in our own homes, and working remotely requires you to do that. But also, you know, physically handling pieces of paper at the moment, and multiple people handling those and then being passed on to other parties obviously does pose a risk, and it's probably one of those things that we just never considered in the past. You know, a lot of people wanted to go paperless because there was it was more the appeal of being mobile and those sorts of things, but now it's more of a health concern as well, and it's certainly something that we need to consider. So you know, we are certainly pushing that agenda, but we're being quite pragmatic in the way that we're doing it. We're not just signing up to the next latest and greatest thing. We're actually being quite sensible about the things that we are signing up for, because they're there to I suppose solve a genuine problem that we've got, or improve the way that we can help service you as our clients. So yeah, I'm actually really excited to see how Inspect Real Estate works in sales now once we open back up, because I know, like I said, it's one of those things that works really well for us in rentals, and yeah, we've been absolutely wrapped with it. So I'm sure the sales guys will certainly see the benefits as well. The other just quick thing I wanted to touch on was from an owners corporation perspective too. You know, a few of you kind of listened over the last 6 months or so since we've been doing these updates. We'll have heard that we've obviously been working in the owners corporation space. And we got some fairly exciting news last week. So we've been appointed manager on 2 additional buildings. So it's nice to see that area of the business beginning to grow as well. You know, we've invested quite a bit of work in that over the course of the last 12 months, and it's nice to see I suppose started to pay some dividends and everything too. So we're quite excited to take on these new buildings. One of them is a brand new build, which would be quite good. That's you know, it's always nice working on a brand new building. But the other one's an existing building as well. So, you know, just I suppose reminding people that is one of our service offerings now. And if anybody wanted to, you know, run something past us or had a question about that, more than happy to address that for you. Perfect. So Anthony, I might just pop some details up on the screen in terms of being able to contact us. But that, from my perspective, I think that's about it. Anthony, was there anything further that you wanted to add at all?
No, not really. Just off of that was great. It was a good opportunity to hear from everyone. I reckon that was our best one yet, Mike. That went really well. So thank you to our entire team, not just for this, but all the tireless hours you've been putting in over the last 6 months. And then also thanks for tuning in and watching. As always, if you've got any questions of Michael or I, but now you've seen your property managers, I'm sure there's a number of our landlords that haven't been able to see who the person is on the other end of the phone. So this is a good opportunity for them to see, you know, their property managers' faces and put a face to the name. So, you know, please feel free to reach out to them as well. But as always, you know, Michael and I are always happy to have a chat or give us a call, or send us through an email at any time.
Yeah. No, look, and that's the other thing too. I didn't mention that, but it's been fantastic today, and thank you to the whole team for contributing. It's been great, and I think we'll make a bit of a habit of it. It'll be nice to continue this, because it's been a really good been a really good exercise. Just one thing as well before we leave too. The next update will be held in about a month's time on the 7th of October. And that will be a slight change of pace on that one there too. So we will be talking a little bit about some depreciation schedules. So we're obviously approaching the end of tax return preparation time. So we'll be having a specialist who basically a quantity surveyor who prepares those depreciation schedules join us. and they'll be there to answer some questions on, what the purpose of a depreciation schedule is and what you might use those things for. So we'll send through details of that presentation as well. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.